Hello everyone, thanks for tuning in. So today video we will talk about new flow features that was just dropped like a couple of hours ago. We're going to talk about the import of API calls definitions, which is actually great because this will actually give you an opportunity to just import files like JSON files, and it will directly import your API calls into your flow and not just select um, each and every step on the way. I'll show you that. It's very great, actually. I really appreciate it. You probably guys know that I really like API calls. So this is something that is really cool for me. And then we have the edit multiple widgets simultaneously. That's actually great as well. And I think you see below that they will actually extend that in the future, but that is great. So you can actually edit, like for example, the font on the size of the text widgets if you have multiple text widgets, for example, you want to change them. New feature for improved UX. You guys know that I'm not a UI UX designer, but for a person who is, this is actually great as well. And two new integrations, and of course some more things. So there are a lot of things to cover today. So let's start it. And yeah. Okay, so let's get started. The first thing we'll talk about is import API definitions. So you can now support you can now import Swagger or Open API definitions directly into your flow project with just a click of a button. You can have 200 API definitions ready to use, saving time and significantly reducing manual work. This is actually great. I actually asked about that, Alex, the co-founder of Flow, like a long time ago, because the whole idea is that you actually have definitions, API codes that you want people to actually easily import them and not just explain in a video like 15 minutes what are all the settings that you have to set up. And that's why this is actually great. So let me show you how this looks like. If I go in my project and if I go to API calls, I'll actually delete this API calls because I just imported. So I'll just delete it. So I don't have any API calls right now. And I will click on this new button, which is Import Open API. So if I click on it, you will see this dialog box. And now you can upload a file. So if I click Upload and upload my sample API call, boom, and it's done, just like that. And I have an API group name. So it could be a group name. And in this case, I have 4 API calls. And I have get, post, delete, for example. And the base arrow in my case is not filled, but you can fill it, of course, manually. But you can do it in your file. It's just a simple file I created. So maybe I have something wrong in my file. So that's why I don't have the base arrow URI. And then the thing is that, for example, if you want to get all the tasks, this is how you can do it, right? You can have tasks, and then the variables and the query can be dynamic as well. So you can see it over here. You have the body, and the body is that you have the ID, the title, and so on and so forth. And I'll actually include that file into, I think I'll include it into my GitHub repo, so you can actually guys see how this file looks like. And yeah, it's just creating variables for you as well. In this case, it's an integer. So it could be actually do a lot of things. I think all of them it could be done. You just need to know the right structure. So if I go to JSON for mother, this is actually the structure that I'm using. This is the file that I'm using. It's OpenAI version 3, and this is the title of the group API calls, and those are the calls. So I have the path, the summary, the response, what is the response, and I have another one which is, in this case, sorry, it's a post. So I have another one which is post, and I have another one which is get, and I have a last one which is delete. And indeed, those are my API calls that were imported. The structure is not very hard to represent, and you can probably do it. I'm sure actually you can do it with ChatGPT if you want to create your own files and just import them and save them for later if you want to import it to another project or something like that. But in the future, actually, I will try to create such JSON files for all my API codes that I use in my videos. So you can guys actually just import it like that, and you don't have to mess with your API codes just creating manually. I think this would be great. So yeah, stay tuned for that. And let's go to the second one. And let's continue with the second one, which is conditional actions upgrade. So now Flow Visual Action Builder now supports multiple branches, which means before that it supported just as if else, but right now it supports if and else if. So that means that you can actually have unlimited branches, which is actually great. There are a lot of reasons that you want to have this feature, and just one that I can think of is, for example, if you have rights to your app, you can actually delegate those rights using those branches. Previously, you had to do some other like hacks, but right now you can do it. So basically, you can have a page on your entry page, and you can have on the scaffold. So let's say that this is my entry page, and on the scaffold, you can open it. So the scaffold is the top widget of your app, and then you can see action is you see on page load. So now you can have add condition action. So you have to actually click on this toggle right here to have multiple conditions. So if you click on this toggle right now I can delete everything from here that I just set it up, because I think this is wrongly set it up. Or I can just do it like that. So here I can actually have actually a multiple conditions, which is the first condition. Let's say the first condition will be if the user display name is equal to, and let's say, Demeter. This is my first condition. So if the username is Demeter, then I can just say redirected, navigate to the cache side. Let's say that. And then I can actually click over here again, and I can add else if, and else if I can actually say, and else if I can just have another condition, and this condition will be, usually when you place conditions, the condition should be on the same thing. So it's display name again, and then here I can just say like Alex, for example. And then if it's Alex, then I want to go to another page, which is cache, let's say cache 2. And then the else block will say if it's not Demeter or Alex, then go to the page cache 3. So this is how you set it up. It looks great actually. And you can set it up, I think it's as many as you want to. I can add another one here, and I can add another one here. So I can have unlimited amount of conditions, which is great. This is totally great. It's fine. It's totally amazing job. So thank you very much, Flow, for doing that. Okay, great. So you can move on with the second one. It's not the second one, sorry, it's the third one. Okay, so this is huge. I don't know why they put it on the third place as well, but now you have the ability to authenticate with email using Supabase. So previously, you were able to use Supabase for your database, but you are not able to actually authenticate a user sign in or sign up using email using Supabase. But now you can actually do that. I'll actually not go into details how you can do it. For the sole reason is that Flow actually did a great video about it. So you can actually click on the link, and this is the video. Will from Flow actually did a great video and a great explanation how you can do it. It's a 16-minute video, so that's why I don't want to do it, because this video will get like over an hour if I'm doing it. But like I said, he already explained everything about this feature and how you can use it. So if you're interested about it, just watch the video, and there is everything explained. Just click on that link. It is in the community, or you probably received an email. I received an email, but if you haven't received an email, it is inside the community. If you want to get the link, because there were some people that were saying that you cannot join the community. If you want to receive the link, just let me know and I'll post it in the comments below this video. Okay, great. And now we can move on to the second one. Well, I'm saying to the second one. It's not the second one, right? Okay, so we have the Razorpay integration. So the Razorpay integration, it's something that Indian users will actually love. It's a way, I think, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think it's a way of payment, and I think mostly used in India. So if you are from India, I think there were a lot of guys actually waiting for that, as I saw in the community, and it is actually now live. So you should be able to integrate it, and it says in order to do that, you have to go to settings and then in-app purchases and then Razorpay. So let me just show you how that looks like. If I go to my project and if I go to settings, and I should be able to see the Razorpay exactly, pay, sorry. And then I can enable it. And when I enable it, I have is production and it's not production. And here I have to set up my credentials, right? So I have the test credentials, the production credentials, additional settings, the business name, which is required. And I have the keys, of course. So the test key, secret key, and the production secret key, which you can probably get from their website. And I will not get into details how you can actually set up that, because it's very specific for a specific country, India. I know that there are a lot of users from there, but it's like I said, it's a very specific one. And if you actually want to um, know if you have any problems, should be straightforward. It should be like you're adding Stripe payments, for example. It's a similar, I think it's a similar way of doing that. So, and it says actually, please note this feature is only for use with existing Razorpay credentials. For any question on this, please reach out to Razorpay support. So yeah, that's Razorpay. Let's move on to the next one. Okay, so the next one is alert dialogs, and previously we actually had two ways of alert box. The one it's alert box, and the other was information uh, dialog. So we actually had, I think, information in confirm dialog box. But right now you can actually choose your own component. And by choosing your own component, you can actually have something like that, which looks great and looks super personal. And if you're actually missing that, uh, you can actually do it right now. So let me actually show you how you can do that real quickly. If I go to my project right now and choose my page and just add a button so a person can actually click, and now you can add an action. And the action will be, I think it's called alert. Yeah, so we have the alert dialog. So we have the information one, and we have the confirmation one, and we have the custom one. So those two are actually old one. So if I click on the information one, you only have the title, the message, then you have the dismiss text, and you can just write your own, but you cannot customize it, right? It's just out of the box. And then we have the confirmation dialog, which is the same thing actually, but the only difference is that you have the cancel and confirm buttons, which you can which you can click, and then the new option that you have right now is the custom dialog. So the custom dialog works with select component component, but I don't have any component right now, so that's why I cannot select it because this is a brand new project actually. But of course, you probably get the idea, right? You can create a component from here, and then you can select it from here, and it should be actually open it. And you can also set width and height as well. You can set the background, and you can have the barrier, cover non-blocking, which means wherever any subsets action should wait for dialog to complete before processing. This can be helpful if you want to use a dialog as a loading indicator while making an API call, for instance. So yeah, this is, I think it's explained it very well in the A button, and non dismissible wherever tapping on the barrier will dismiss the dialog. So if you want to be dismissible or not. So yeah, this is about the great UI and UX improvement. Like I said, it's really good. And if you are a UI UX designer, I think this would be actually great for you. So let's move on to the, I would say, I would not say to the second one. Okay, so now we have the blur hash for improvement UX, which is great as well. And the whole idea is that if the image is not loaded already, it will actually be shown blurry, and then it will actually show the actual image. And let me show you, it's a simple option when you when you imported your image, and now you have this option, which is use blur hash, and it just explained the same thing. So blur hash helps you show a blurred preview of an image while it is loading. You can generate a blur hash string inside the upload media action by enabling the include blur hash toggle. So you can actually you can actually uh, enable it, and then you can actually uh, just point to the blur hash string. And the string that you have to put over here, let me show you how you can do that. So if you go to the website, which is, if you just write blur hash in Google, it will probably you get to this website. So when you get to this website, you should go down, and then there is an image. So you have to upload your image that you want to use to blur hash. And then let's say that I want to blur hash this image, which is AI generated actually. so it's not a real person. And you have the components, and then this is the string. So you can just copy the string that is being generated, and you go back and you can have to paste it over here. So when you do that, it will actually load. Is this is not for this exact image, but you probably get the idea, right? Uh, this is how you can do it. So you have to have your image, and then you can get the string, and then you can paste it over here. So this is how it works. Okay, so let's move on. Okay, so the last thing, or one of the last things is that um, you can actually edit multiple widgets, or in this case, multiple text widgets simultaneously, which previously was not possible. And that is great, actually. Amazing job from the Flutterflow team again. And let me show you how you can do that. So if we go to the project, in my case, I just created a simple four text, and then I can just select them using the mouse, and then I should be able to select them, I think, with shift, right? So you can select them with shift, just holding the shift, and then you can select them, and then you can actually change, let's say, the font and the type. So the normal, let's make normal 45, and you can actually see that I'm changing all of them, which is great. I can make it underline, I can change the font size, I can make them center. In this case, it's not working because it's not that way. It is working, but you can see the difference. And you can make it italic, or yeah, it's great actually, because in this case, you don't have to manually do it one by one. You can actually make it like that. There is another thing that you can do, which is using the widget style, theme style. So you can actually have a theme style. If I create a new theme style of this particular widget, I should be able to do it with the creating theme for widget, and then I can actually use this theme. So let's say that I have this, and let's say that I want to create a new theme for text widget. Let's say text widget, and of course I have to name it my style, my text style, and then I can create it. And here you can have your style, right? Your style can be, let's say, 45 pixels, and my family font will be light, let's say light, or let's say extra light, let's say thin. And let's say my, what else? Let's say I want to under, no, it's under, looks, doesn't look really very good. But let's say it's right now it's okay. Let's save it, and then I have my style here, and then I can actually use this style. So I can like, I think I can select more than one. I cannot use a style for more than one, it seems so, but I can actually select the style manually and just click on the style. So this is actually another thing that you can do. And if you're actually using a style of text across your pages or your app, I will actually prefer to do it using the styles and not manually doing, because the styling will actually it's just a click of a button, right? You set it up once, and it's just a click of the button. And then if you want to change the style, you can actually still do it. And I believe it will change the style for your other, let's say, 555, for example. Let's say my new style is bold. And this should actually change. Yeah, exactly. This is changing across your app. So I will actually prefer the style, but still, if you want to change the text simultaneously, if you want to quickly change something let's make this to 25 font size. You can still do it like that. Okay, let's move to the last one. Okay, and the last one is we upgraded our tab bar widget with the new features, including the ability to accept children, ability to disable swipe left and right property, and an active tab current tab state. So let me show you how that looks like. So here I added a tab bar. Let me just switch to my project, of course. Here I added a tab bar. And now if you click on the top bar itself and you go down here, you can actually probably see keep tab state alive. So this is something that was there before, but the new function is allow swiping to switch tabs. So in this case, it's allowed wherever to allow switching tabs by swiping left and right on a content on the tab. So if you want to disable that, the whole idea is that if you swipe to the right, for example, you go to example 2, and if you swipe again to the right, you go to example 3. But if you want to disable that, you can still do it. And then they added another thing, an active tab current tab state variable. So you should be able to actually, if I, for example, go over here, and then if I want to select, if I want my button to be actually saying, button is not probably ideal way, but let's say text. So if I want to have a text, if I having a text, and let's see if I can actually show the actual page or state. I'm actually not sure how you can actually select the current state variable. I don't see it from here. I'm just thinking that this should be something from a widget state, and then you can select it from there, but I don't see this functionality. If you actually can help and just write in the comments how you can do that, that would be great. But currently, I don't see it right now. Okay, and we have, I think this is something new as well, new right click menu for faster building. They changed the right click menu, and I think they added a lot of functionality as well. So if I right click over here, you can actually see right now we have the cut button, we have the copy button, we have the paste button, we have the undo button, and we have the redo button, and we have the delete button as well. And then we have the duplicate, we have the wrap widget, which I didn't use a lot, but this is actually a great functionality that I want to use more often, but I always forget that this is here. So you can wrap this widget inside a couple of other widgets, which is great. And then you can also have the replace widget. So you can replace widget. In this case, I think there is nothing that I can replace it. But if I wrap it, let's say with a colon, and if I right click on the colon and it says replace widget, I should be actually able to replace it with a list view, for example. So if you want to use a list view, in this case, it's not working. I think the structure matters with what to replace it. I think the colon and list view, I'm not sure if they are replaceable, but you can replace, for example, colon and then the row. And then you can add comments which will be seen by you or your teammates of the flow project. They will be not seen, of course, in the actual final production version of your app. And then we have copy widget code. And the copy widget code is actually the one that is used, that I am actually using in my website to copy the widget code, and then you can paste it. So if I copy this widget code, I'm not sure, but I think I should be able to add another row, for example, and then I should be able to paste the widget code. But in this case, I think it's not working. Yeah, now it works. and then with a Control C and Control V, it worked. But this is actually another thing. This is copy widget code, and this is not copying the widgets. So to be honest, I don't know what is the difference then copy the widget and then pasting it, and then what is this copy widget code with Control G. Okay, and then we have the get bug report, which is actually used for the GitHub issues. When you have a GitHub issue, you can copy the code from here and then paste it into GitHub. And then we have convert to component, and then we have save as tablet. So the difference between those two is when you do it like that, you can use this component across your project. But if you save it as a template, you should be able to use it across all your projects in Flow. So that's something that you have to keep in mind. And then the last thing is save as theme style widget. So if I click that, you can just save it as theme style widget. So the menu is definitely much better, and I really like the icons because you don't actually need it over here. So yeah, like I said, great improvement. And then they actually had a few bugs that they fixed. You can actually report a bug from the GitHub issue tracker if you want to do that. The fixes that they did is fixed an issue with using latitude and longitude in app state, fixed an issue causing compile released Java with error when deploying to the Play Store. So fix it an issue where UI elements were not currently rendered when width was set to 0. Fixing an issue causing dynamic links to not work in iOS, and fixing an issue with conditional visibility and email verified condition. And the last one is fixing an issue with upload file not working on Android 13. There is actually an issue. I think most of those, at least I think 3 or 4 or maybe more, there was an issue in the GitHub opened about those issues. So if you actually have any issues, like I said, with Flow, feel free to submit GitHub issue. And yeah, first, maybe you make sure that it's an actual issue, it's not a project related one, and then you can submit it over here. And then the final thing that we want to do is let's see what is the new features coming on. So the new features are action components, which I'm not sure what this will be exactly. Maybe you have actions in the components. And then the second thing is update the properties of multiple widgets simultaneously. Now that is great as well. Much appreciated. It will build your apps even faster. And then the last thing is directory organization for custom code. I can't wait for that actually because I have a lot of custom code. So it would be great to actually create folders and just place my custom code inside those folders. So that was it. Before we go, actually, I just want to let you know that there are a lot of videos coming up I prepared. So just stay tuned for those. And if you have actually forget about it, I think you haven't. But there's this website that I set it up, and for the 2,000 subscribers, for thank you, and you can actually see all my videos there, and you can get the codes. So yeah, thank you very much for watching, and have a nice day. Bye bye. Take care.